This is another quick one. Before I get this lesson started, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rogadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone of whom I learned from. Shalom is your brother, Radah. Shalom. Look at, so as we go into the future, we understand that what? Two things are going to happen. Well, a lot of things are going to happen. They're going to restrict Esau, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, using his sword, who is Esau, the wicked, is going to restrict movement and speech. So movement is going to be restricted and speech. That goes into the famine of the word. So check this out.
Come on. No. Now imagine there was an emergency outside the truck, an accident, something terrible on the ranch with a chainsaw. And I jump in this truck, but the truck, it won't shift into drive. Why? Because the cameras and sensors inside this cab won't let it shift because it detects my eyes are big. There's a lot of emotion. There's some panic, and it doesn't feel that I'm fit to drive. Now, that's not science fiction. That is happening because Ford just filed the patents. Ford actually has a series of patents down at the U.S. Patent and Trade Office that deal with the sensors and cameras inside the cab of their truck. And if the sensors in that truck determine that you're not fit to drive, that truck will not actually shift from park to drive. Now, they already have a system called telematics, and that's where they can actually pull up cameras in real time inside the cab of their fleet vehicles. Now, they actually market this to insurance companies because the truth is, this is really about who owns the data and who owns the liability. Now, your name might actually be on the title of this truck, and you may have paid for it, but you don't own it. Now, Ford didn't file just one patent. They filed a stack of them, all within months of each other. Are you sitting down? Get this. This Ford technology patent doesn't just watch you. This one puts you in jail. Ford filed a patent, serial number 0104469, where the system takes your biometric data, your face, your iris, and your fingerprint, and it runs it through a criminal database in real time. While you're sitting in your own truck, think about what that means. You wake up one morning, you walk out to your driveway, you climb into a vehicle with your name on the title, on property with your name on the deed. And before you go anywhere, before you've done a single thing wrong, your truck is already running your face through a law enforcement database. Ford's own patent language describes this as potentially useful for police. They wrote that. Ford wrote that into the patent application. So the question isn't whether this technology can be abused. Ford already told you who it's for. You just didn't know that you were buying a cop car. Now I'm going to walk you through a few of these patents. Lip reading, cameras inside your cab, machine learning trained on lip movement datasets, cloud connected, your face processed somewhere you'll never see, stored as long as they want. Acoustic lip reading, if the cameras aren't enough, the system emits inaudible sound waves and reads the echoes bouncing off of your mouth. You can't see it, it's just happening. Biometrics, your face, fingerprint, iris, filed February 2024, and it was published August 2025. This one is assigned a serial number because it's real. Ad listening. This is scary. It monitors conversations between everyone in the cab. It serves targeted ads based on what you and others are talking about while you're driving. In Ford's words, maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization. No description of how that data is protected either. None. How about Ford Pro Telematics? Now, this one isn't a patent. This one is actually a product page. Right now, fleet managers can pull live in-cabin video feeds of drivers on their phones. Ford markets seatbelt compliance alerts with the explicit benefit of lowering insurance costs. They said it themselves. This is the infrastructure, and once the infrastructure exists, it's going to get used and abused. Now, Ford isn't alone in this. This is an arms race. Smart Eye driver monitoring software is already in over 2 million cars globally. The EU's general safety regulation mandates drowsiness systems as standard equipment going forward. GM deployed biometric seat sensors and heart rate monitoring in production trucks. Come on!
So all this technology is also in the smart TVs, the cell phones. You know what I'm saying? There's cameras everywhere you go. Everything that we understood or knew as life, it's over, man. Let me see if I can. And they Minority Report. Minority Report. So that's what this is.
I guess we should have assumed that.
Chief Pemberton, what is this that I'm seeing? I'm confused about.
So this movie came out like in 2002, 2003, 2001, and it was all about what Esau's doing. You know, basically making himself God through his technology, right? And being like what it says about the Most High, his eye, the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding the good and bad everywhere. This is Esau trying to make himself God. So I don't want to play too much of this.
When the precogs declare a victim and a killer, their name is embedded in the grain of wood. Since each piece is unique, the shape and grain is unique. The shape and grain is impossible.
So we understand that Hollywood, all these actors, they're left-handed prophets. They're given a script from the left hand, which is generated how? Well, during their blood sacrifices, because the demons, the left-hand side powers, have ceremonies that they have to abide by, right? And then as they're committing those ceremonies, they get downloads, they get instruction, but they have to offer up blood. They have to do Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verses 3, 4, 5, and 6. They have to do the Feast of Blood, and then Satan on the left-hand side gives the elect, which is called the Lucifer, the light bearers on the left-hand side, the upper echelons. They get a whole myriad of instructions, and Hollywood was a major outlet for this information of all the plans that we see manifesting now. It was all done in coded speech. It was, done in the form of the revelation of the method, where bits and pieces of it was, revealed. But you have to have understanding on the right-hand side to break this stuff down. But that's what this movie is going into. And so it's Esau being what? He is the accuser. And this is also 2 Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. They're going to control speech. They're going to control movement. And the famine of the word, they're going to control speech. The famine of the word, and this eventually they're going to shut down the internet, because everything that we're doing and everything that everybody else is doing is exposing Esau of the word. And we also understand this, that when this happens, when Amos, we understand by wisdom and understanding Amos 8 and 11, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, and there is a famine of bread coming. The reason why it's written this way is to focus on what else he's going to do. Nor of thirst for water, because there is coming a famine of both water and food, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. Why? Because when this point happens, this means that Yahweh, in his wisdom, is going to move Esau through his technological power to shut off the internet through laws, right? And he's gonna make a man an offender of the word. I'm gonna pull that precept, and then we understand that also is the time of grace that is being pulled out of the earth. That it's no longer time for us to preach or teach this truth. Our tongues are going to cleave to our mouth, and we're going to stop talking. Not like we can't speak and dumb. We're just not going to be crying out for anyone to repent. It's all up to you guys to remember everything that you were told and to move forward from that point on. Mercy is taken out of the earth, and it's all about judgment. That's how you interpret this, because this is what's coming. They're going to shut the internet off. They're going to shut it all down because too much information is coming out about them. Let me see. So, and they shall wander, look, verses 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. And what does this mean? You're going to be all over the internet trying to find it, and it's all going to be either turned completely off, and then when it comes back on, you're not going to have access to any of this stuff anymore. You see them already doing. They've already purchased TikTok. They've changed all kinds of things on YouTube. They're shutting everything. They're making moves, right? So let's what's the other one? He makes a man an offender. He makes a man an offender for a word, for a doctrine, for a countering of, for speaking the truth for a word. Look at this. So let's go back one. Verse 29:20. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. Verse 21. That make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. So this goes in to the accusations, right? The accuser of the brethren, and then what? The accuser of the brethren. Who is this? It's talking about Esau, Revelations 12:10. And I heard a loud voice saying, now at the end of all this, when Yahushua finally brings down Esau, and I heard a loud voice saying in the heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Mashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And that's what we see Esau doing. That's what this is. It's all accusations. It's Esau putting people in categories and then judging them based on Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, which is what? The law of strength, the law of justice is their strength. What does that mean? It's not the laws of the Bible. It's not the laws of Moses. It's the laws of the so-called white man. What he says is good and bad. And that's why they write laws. And then once they pass those laws, they're able to use those laws to impose them against you to justify how they're going to oppress you. Because they can say you're breaking the law, but it's a law that benefits them.
I'm sure you all understand the legalistic drawback to pre-crime methodology.
Here we go again.
Pre-crime. We want to lock you up before you do it when that's not even how the Most High works. Now the Most High writes out prophecy before it happens, but you still got to do it before he'll judge you. See, so this goes all into Esau trying to be like the Most High. I'm going to get one more precept. Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14. 12. How art thou? So look, verse 12. Isaiah 14:12, reading it down. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? It's talking about the so-called white man, the illuminated ones on the left-hand side, the true witches walking in light, the left-handed light, which is a left-handed wisdom. This is not talking about the Satan, the prince demon Satan. This is the human element of that. Son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? How did this Lucifer weaken the nations? Through the banking system, through his laws, through his media, through his deception and lies. Verse 13, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Talking about the true Israelites. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Talking about America. Verse 14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And how is he going to be like the Most High? Through his technology.
I'm not with the ACLU on this, Jeff.
This shows you who this race of people is.
But let's not
Now, are there other nations working at it? Yes, China's working at it, but China is not in control of the world.
kid ourselves. We are arresting individuals who have broken no law. But they will.
And China's not releasing movies like this, like Esau is. Esau is the man of sin, you guys.
The definition of the crime itself is absolute metaphysics. The precongs see the future, and they're never wrong.
But it's not the future if you stop it. Isn't that a fundamental paradox?
See, and see, that's what Esau wants to do. They want to stop real prophecy because they don't want to face their judgment.
Wait.
So I just wanted to show that really quick. I pray that this was edifying. We'll give all praise and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Messiah, by Hashem Rakakadash, and double honor to the elders and apostles of the great millstone whom I learn from. This is your brother Radash Shalom.